Okay, for the lat test, what we want is the camera coming from the side angle here, kind of flush to the wall. You're gonna have your knees at an angle that you can easily get your low back flat against the wall. And I can test here, I can't get my hand past this low back. We don't want that arch in the low back for this test. Another way that we can make sure that throughout the test you're not cheating by arching that low back is we can put a club here. If you arch it back for me, we can put a club through there, and then I want you to squeeze that club against the wall. If this club, so we'll find the angle there. If this club now falls, we know that he had to cheat to gain that range of motion. That club will fall to the ground, okay? So from here, the test is arms straight out in front of you, thumbs pointing towards the wall. I want you to raise your arms towards the ceiling, trying to get your thumbs to touch the wall. Good. And this will be the angle that's perfect to tell me how far you can get. If you do feel your low back starting to come off the wall a little bit there, you can relax there. Where you're starting to arch, stop the test there. If you have any pain in the shoulders, stop the test there, okay? Wherever that is, I'll be able to measure that angle. Okay, this is the shoulder internal rotation and external rotation test. So if we're doing a self-assessment at home and we didn't know just about how our shoulder internal and external rotation is doing, we don't have a professional that can kind of assess us. What we can do is we'll lay on our back and we'll have our shoulder at 90 degrees from our torso, and then we want our fingertips pointing towards the sky. From here, what I want you to do is make sure that as we're rotating, our elbow doesn't either drop towards our rib cage or flare up higher towards the camera there. So this always has to stay pointing straightly out that way. First thing we're gonna do is just let our hand drop towards, palm towards the ground. The moment you feel this shoulder joint or the humerus here start to pop out of the skin towards the ceiling, that's when we kind of reach our end range, okay? That's what we're gonna use for our end range here. In the office, we'll use a couple different points to determine different important ranges of motion. But again, just for a home test, the moment you feel like you have to really start to move things around here to get this hand lower, that's when we're gonna stop. So right here, if I want to get any lower, I have to move. You see that this starts to pop towards the ceiling. So that's gonna be my mark. We're hoping it's at around 60 degrees. For overhead athletes, a little bit more. Now for external rotation, we do the exact opposite. We drop this back of the palm, back of the hand towards the ground. And the moment, again, I start to feel movement occurring up in my shoulder, starting to pop towards the ceiling, that's when I end it. That's when I take my measurement. And what we're looking for overhead athletes is that we're getting the back of this hand to the floor, and that we're getting this palm pretty close to the floor there. We're looking for 180 degrees of total arc. And for non-overhead athletes, we are just looking for about 60 degrees of internal rotation and about 90 degrees, 80 degrees of external rotation. What this looks like from the side is I'll let my palm drop towards the floor, and right there I start to feel a lot of tension building up my shoulder. If I wanted it to go further, you would see how this changes. No motion really occurring up there as I do this. And the moment I get there, you see it start to rise towards the ceiling. So right before that happens, right about there. So kind of limited here on my left side compared to the right for sure. And then we can test external rotation, letting it rotate towards the ground. I do much better there. But I start to feel this start to pop towards the ceiling right before the back of my hand hits the ground. Okay, so again, that's how we take our measurements. That's what it looks like from the side.